Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Rohit and today we're going to be talking about time management. So time management is a crucial element to being more productive. So today in this video, I'm going to give you some actionable tactics that you can use to live a more productive life. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rohit and I have personally started and scaled multiple businesses over the last few years. And time management has always been something that has been blocking my productivity. It's something which has been stopping me from achieving my goals and getting the things that I wanted out of life. So, like any other person, I did a ton of research, found different tips and tactics that work, and I basically implemented them into my daily routine. And now I get shit done. I actually feel like I'm able to make time for everything I want, and I feel like I'm getting closer to and even hitting many of my life goals. So the way that we're going to tackle time management is in 3 key steps. Step number 1 is time blocking. So this is actually using your calendar and figuring out where to slot your different activities and tasks in so that you're able to make time for them. The next thing we're going to talk about is prior preparation. These are the things that you can do to eliminate decision fatigue and be more effective with your time management. And then finally, we're going to be talking about automation and delegation. These are 2 major things which can help dramatically improve your time management skills. Now let's start with time blocking. I'm going to put myself into a screen share in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's kick off with time blocking. I'm also going to be putting on my old man glasses, so do not judge me too hard. Cool. Now, let's talk a little bit about what time blocking is first. Essentially, what time blocking is, it's basically blocking out sections of time within your calendar for different tasks that are on your to-do list. Pretty simple, right? Now, in order to do this effectively, you want to first jump into some sort of a calendar app. Now, there are a ton out there that you can use. You can use Outlook, you can use Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, there's Motion, there's so many different apps out there. For me personally, I like to use Google Calendar. I think it is very easy. It integrates with a lot of different platforms that I use, so I love it. But yeah, feel free to use whatever you want. So now that we have our calendar app chosen and we're using our calendar, what we want to do is we want to start putting our to-do list into blocks of time within this calendar. Now, to make it really simple, I already have a to-do list written over here. So this is a to-do list I put together beforehand. If you want to see a more in-depth video on how I make my to-do lists and how I set out my different priorities for all these different items, I will link that video somewhere on the screen or in the description box below. But anyways, back to the to-do list. So this is one that I've got already prepped. Essentially what I have to do here is I have to do grocery shopping, gym, I've got a couple client meetings, I want to take some vitamins, I have dinner with a friend, catch up on emails, I've got to film this YouTube video, need to work on a marketing campaign, need to do a follow-up call with an event management company, I want to do some reading, and I need to do a call with my family. Now, what you want to be doing is you want to take this whole to-do list and you want to put that in your calendar. So let's just quickly do that right now. Now I'm back in the calendar app and I'm literally just going to keep creating calendar events for every item on my to-do list. So just to start with, let's do grocery shopping. Oops, misspelled there. There we go. Grocery shopping, boom, save that, easy as. And then I'm just going to replicate this for every item on my to-do list. And I'm not going to make you watch me write every single one down. So 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Now all my to-do list items are in my calendar app. It looks really gross and really messy, so this is where we clean it up. Now what we want to be doing is we first want to be isolating the time-sensitive tasks. So anything which has a designated time or a scheduled time, we want to be allotting that into the correct block. So just from looking here, we can see that I have a client meeting at 12 p.m., this one over here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to schedule that for 12 p.m. as it should be. I've got this one over here which says dinner with friend at 8 p.m. Let's move that all the way down to 8 p.m. I've got this one which says client meeting at 3 p.m. Let's move that to 3 p.m. So by doing this, you're basically making sure that everything which is time sensitive is actually in the allocated time it needs to be. After you've done that, what you want to do next is you want to actually start expanding these blocks or shrinking these blocks. And that's based on how much time you actually need for these tasks. So let's work from the bottom up. So the first task we see here is dinner with friend at 8 p.m. Now, realistically, the dinner itself is only going to be about 1 hour. I'm going to need about 15 minutes to also get to the restaurant, and I'll also need another 15 minutes to get back home. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in those commute tasks. So I'm going to say commute, put that one in there, and then put another one which says commute. So that's for me to commute there and commute back home. From here, what you want to do is you want to start allocating the actual amount of time you require. So my rule of thumb is generally I like to do 2x. So if something's going to take me 1 hour, I'd like to schedule 2 hours for it. If it's something that will take 15 minutes, I want to schedule 30 minutes for it. I firmly believe it is much, much better to be finished early and have time to spare than to be running overtime and finishing late. Being late is not great. And so always give yourself some type of buffer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this commute task 1. I know I need 15 minutes, so I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, again, doubling up. And I know my dinner with friend is going to be 1 hour, so I'm going to give myself 2 hours for that. Schedule that for 2 hours there. And then I'm going to take the second commute task and just like I did before, shrink that. And just like that, we've been able to allocate the actual amount of time we need. And so we can do this for all the other tasks. So I know that client meeting B, that's about a 30-minute meeting. So I've already got an hour there. Terrific. I'm also going to add in meeting prep, just as so. And again, I'll probably need maybe 15 minutes to prep for that meeting. So I'll give myself 30 minutes there. And then I'm going to probably want to take some time to put all the post-meeting notes and all that type of stuff together. And I want to put that in again, 30 minutes, because I only need 15 minutes for that. And I'll do that again for the other meeting as well. Okay, awesome. So I have my 2 meetings. I've got the meeting prep and the post meeting, everything allotted. Again, everything is 2x. So I need only 15 minutes to prep. I've given myself 30. The meetings are only 30 minutes. I've given myself 1 hour. Again, it's always better to be finished early than to be finished late. Next, we can go on to the other items here. So let's look at gym. Gym, I think realistically, I only need about 1 hour. So I'm going to give myself 2 hours. So I'm just going to expand that to the 2-hour block. And I'm just going to move it here so it's a little bit cleaner. Grocery shopping, I only need 30 minutes. So I'm going to give myself 1 hour. And so you get the gist. Basically just allot the adequate amount of time to everything and 2x it. Okay, cool. So I have quickly gone and done that for all the other items I have. So reading, I needed 30 minutes, gave myself an hour. Family call, I need 15 minutes, gave myself 30 minutes. And you get the idea. The next thing we want to do is we want to start chucking in our reoccurring tasks. So these are things which are going to happen every single day that we can't avoid. So the easy ones to start with are basically meals. So we can put in something like breakfast, just like so, and lunch, and dinner. I don't know how everyone else works. I have very set times for all my meals. Generally, my lunch is at about 1:30, which fits in perfectly here. My dinner is normally at 8, and so that works perfectly with the meeting I have later today. And then my breakfast, I normally do it around 8 a.m., which I can put in there. So now I've already set my reoccurring tasks. Another task which I had on my to-do list was this vitamin task, which is basically to take certain vitamins every day. Now, this is something which the timing isn't really so important. It's just, it matters that I do it every day. So what I can do is I can actually turn this into a reoccurring task. Basically the way that I do that, it's really simple. I just click over here where it says does not repeat and say daily. And where it says all day, I click on that. And then when I press save, it'll show up on the top bar over here. So it's not really taking any particular time out of my calendar. It's just something that I know I have to do in the day. Okay, so just to quickly recap what we've done here. We've opened our calendar app, we've taken our to-do list, inputted it in. We've taken those items on our to-do list, which are time sensitive, and slotted them in correctly. And then from there, we've also expanded each block to the amount of time we need for that task. And then finally, we've added in our reoccurring tasks like taking vitamins, having lunch and breakfast and dinner and all of that. From here, what we want to do is we want to start taking these tasks and slotting them into all the free space we have. So just by looking at this, we can take this gym item and let's move this towards the end of the day because I generally prefer working out in the afternoons. So let's go 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Work on this marketing campaign. Let's maybe push that over here from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. This follow-up call with the event management company, I can put that in this slot over here. My reading time, I like to do that towards the end of the day, so I can move that all the way down here. And then my call with my family, I generally like to do that when I wake up in the morning, so I can put that over here. My email catch-up task, I can chuck that in right over here. And grocery shopping, this is something I do via an app, so it's not too lengthy. So maybe I can do that while I'm having my lunch. And now filming this YouTube video, that's going to be tricky because I can't seem to find the slot for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that right up here. Okay, so this is also one of the beauties of time blocking, is that you can actually see in your calendar, when do I have free time to do something? Now, clearly, I need 2 hours to film this YouTube video. I don't have any time in my calendar today to do it. So what I can do is I can basically reschedule this to the very next day. So that'll show up over here, film YouTube video. Again, that vitamin that's repeating. And again, the whole point here is you don't want to overcrowd your calendar with too many tasks. You only want to make sure that you have the tasks that you can accomplish in that day. Now, after we've slotted everything in as we have done and even rescheduled things, the next step for us is to color code everything. So I have a really simple color coding system. Basically, if something is red, it means it's non-negotiable. It means it has to be done no matter what that day. So for me, I can take this vitamins task. Let's turn that red because that's non-negotiable. And then we can look at the gym as another non-negotiable task that has to be done in the day no matter what. And let's put that as red as well. So the next color I like to use is purple. I use purple for basically any work-related task that is incomplete. So just by looking here, catching up on emails, that can be purple. Working on this campaign, that can be purple as well. And you get the idea. Okay, so now I have colored in all of my incomplete tasks in purple. The next thing I actually like to do is when I complete these tasks, I actually like to change the color. So let's say, it's now, I don't know, 11:30 on the 12th of November, and I've already completed this work on marketing campaign. What I will do after I've completed it is I actually change the color to yellow. So for me, yellow signifies a completed task. Purple is incomplete, yellow is complete. Don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just like to do it because I like to tick things off when I finish them. So changing the color kind of feels like that. The next color I like to use is green. And this is for the tasks which are kind of flexible. So for me, the major ones which are flexible are my meals. So I can easily take my breakfast and let's make that green. Oops, there we go. And I can take my lunch and make that green as well. Now, when I say flexible, it doesn't mean that I'm removing these tasks or anything of the sort. It just means that I can change the time around during the day. I can move it to different points if I need to. They're not super crucial to be hit at those specific times. It's just kind of where I like to have them. Finally, the last color I like to use is blue. I basically set any task that involves another person, where someone else has got their time commitment involved. I like to make those blue. So meetings with other people, dinner with a friend, those type of things I like to put as blue. Also, just quickly telling you, reading should not be blue. That is most definitely a flexible green task. But yeah, so that's basically how I color code my calendar. So to recap this, red means non-negotiable, has to be done today no matter what. Purple means that it is a task that is incomplete. Yellow means it is a completed task. Green means it is a flexible task, and blue means that it is a task that involves another person, so like a meeting or going out to dinner with someone. Finally, the last thing I want to say about time blocking is please do not be pedantic about it, okay? It's okay to reschedule things. It's okay not to complete everything on this list. The whole idea of doing this is just to kind of help make sure that you have time allocated for your tasks and to make sure that you have enough time in the day to do what is on your to-do list. You never want to be in a situation where you have this massive to-do list and then not enough time. So that's why we use time blocking, to make sure we have time to do everything we want to do. So yeah, please just do not be pedantic or a perfectionist with it. It's just a tool to help you. It is not the absolute end all of everything. Okay, so now that's everything about time blocking, and I am going to stop sharing my screen now. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is prior preparation. And honestly, this is probably the easiest thing that you can do to dramatically improve your time management. The only problem is that it requires a little bit of discipline. So what exactly is prior preparation? Well, it is the act of planning or getting something ready in advance. And it can be broken into two core elements. Element number one is routinization, and element number two is decision fatigue. So firstly, what is routinization? Routinization is basically the process of making a task routine or customary so that you can perform it on autopilot and be super efficient. You know that saying that you need 10,000 hours to do something well? It's kind of the same process over here. Turn something into a routine, make sure that you're doing it every single day or very consciously doing the same thing over and over again, and before you know it, you can do it in your sleep and you can do it super effectively. Decision fatigue, on the other hand, is a psychological phenomenon where one's ability to make effective decisions declines with every additional decision they make. In other words, the more decisions you make, the worse they start to get. And making too many decisions in a short period of time can lead to a host of other problems. Problems like analysis paralysis, procrastination, impulsive actions, and so much more. So the key to eliminating decision fatigue is to reduce the amount of decisions you have to make in a day. And so this is where prior preparation comes into action. So let's start with routinization. You want to start creating routines for yourself so that you can do things in your sleep. A basic routine that you could start off with is having a morning routine. Having a simple process that you do every single day when you wake up. So, brush your teeth, comb your hair, moisturize your face. You start doing those three actions every single day. It becomes a routine, and before you know it, you're doing it on autopilot and you don't have to even think about it. Another routine you could do is maybe a meeting preparation routine. So this could be like a process that you do before every single meeting you have. So maybe you Google the company, maybe you look them up on LinkedIn, maybe you create a few points of what you want to talk about, like an agenda or something. Turn that into a routine, and before you know it, you become so efficient that you're not even thinking, you're just doing it on autopilot. Now, if we go back to decision fatigue, what you want to be doing there is you want to be making your decisions in advance so that you don't have to make a ton of decisions every single day. So two very simple decisions you can make beforehand that are going to reduce decision fatigue is meal prepping and planning your outfits. Let's talk about meal prepping first. Meal prepping is basically the process of making your meals in advance, in bulk, having them in the fridge, ready to go. The reason that's really good is that it's going to eliminate the decision of what am I going to eat today every single day, because you would have had the meals prepped and you're ready to go. Same thing is true for planning your outfits. When you plan your outfits the night before, on the next day in the morning when you're getting dressed, you don't have to make those unnecessary decisions like what do I wear, what color is going to work, because you would have already done it beforehand when you were less stressed and more relaxed. So just by preparing your meals and getting your outfits prepped in advance is going to dramatically reduce the decision fatigue that you're going to be facing every single day. So just to quickly recap what prior preparation is, it's the act of planning something ahead of time. And you want to try and do things which can turn into a routine so that you can do them on autopilot. And you want to reduce the decisions you have to make by making your decisions in advance so that you don't have to make unnecessary decisions every single day. Now, before I finish on this one segment, I also want to add, just like time blocking, don't be pedantic. It's okay not to do this perfectly. It's okay to be a bit spontaneous. It's okay to have fun with it. You don't want to be a perfectionist and plan every single element of your life out every single day. But use these tools to guide you so that you can maybe be a little bit more effective and use your time better. Okay, so the final thing we're going to be talking about is automation and delegation. So let's start with automation first. So what is automation? Well, essentially, automation is the use of technology to make a process or system work behind the scenes automatically with minimal or even no human intervention. So how is automation going to help you with your time management? Well, essentially what you want to be doing is you want to be finding technology or finding tools that can help you automate a lot of your tasks. So here are some very basic examples of what automation can look like. You can use something like ChatGPT to help you write emails so that you're not spending time trying to figure out exactly how to word things. The AI itself can write it for you. You can use a dishwasher, that's technically automation. Instead of you scrubbing dishes and wasting so much time doing that, have the dishwasher work in the background. You can also use tools like Monday.com or Asana to help manage your team and make sure everybody is sticking to deadlines and getting reminders when they need to. So there are a host of automation tools out there which you can use to help free up time so that you can actually manage your time more effectively. So now I'm going to give you an example of a time where I used automation and it helped tremendously. So a few years ago, I used to run an e-commerce business selling jewelry online, and I had this problem. I needed more reviews on my actual product pages, and I wanted my existing customers to keep buying more products from me. So what I ended up doing, which probably wasn't the smartest thing, was I would scrub through Shopify, find every single email address from all my customers, email them individually, asking them if they can write a review for me or if they can post a photo of the product on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. And then on top of that, I was also emailing them a second time, sending them a discount code that I was also generating and asking them to basically buy again for a 10% discount or a 15% discount. And it got to a point where I was spending hours every single day doing this. And I was never able to get through the full list of customers. I was never able to word the email super creatively. And it just became really annoying, really boring. And it was just taking away time from things which could actually be growing my business, focusing on digital ads or focusing on product development. Instead, I was scrubbing through Shopify, finding email addresses, generating discount codes, asking for reviews, responding to people back and forth, and it was not working. So what I did was I looked for some automation here. And that's where I stumbled across this app called Loox. Now, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but this is just my personal experience. So essentially what Loox is, it is an app that helps generate customer reviews. So what happens is I installed the app and I spent a bit of time building some workflows and crafting some emails. And essentially, the app was then doing all this work I had been previously struggling with in the background. The app would basically send an email to all my customers about 7 days after they had received their product, asking them to leave a review. It gave a link so they could do it seamlessly, and they could even upload the image of their review onto the product page. So that was automatically being taken care of now by this app. The other thing it was doing, it was also sending discount codes about 20 days after someone had purchased a product from me. And it was generating the discount codes automatically, sending it through, and it was just phenomenal. Because this is something that was taking me 3-4 hours every single day. Now I had this platform automating this entire workflow for me so I could focus on other aspects of my business. So moral of the story here, don't be scared to use automation, because sometimes an automation tool can dramatically free up time and make you more productive. Now let's switch gears and talk about delegation. Now, what is delegation? Well, essentially, it is the process of assigning a task to someone else. So by no means am I suggesting that you should be offloading all of your work to other people. Please do not do that. What I am saying is that you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes literally just asking your team, asking colleagues, asking a parent, anybody to give you a lending hand is going to make a massive difference to the way that you manage your time. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of managers have this sort of mentality where it's like, I can do everything best and I should be managing everything, and this sort of control freak mentality. That is really not effective in the long run, because it's just going to mean that you're going to have endless tasks and you're never going to have time to finish everything. So delegation is really important, and asking for help and bringing in the right people to help take a little bit off your plate is super crucial to managing your time effectively and ultimately being more productive. But here's the thing with delegation, right? You have to do it correctly. Otherwise, you can end up wasting a lot of your own time. Like if you delegate work to the wrong person and they mess everything up, you're going to spend even more time fixing their mistakes. So delegating correctly is really crucial. I actually have an example of a time where I delegated work not so well and I delegated work incredibly well. So let's wind the clocks back to early 2023. I was actually expanding a company, a SaaS company, out from Australia over to the United States, moved to the US with this company, and I was wearing every single hat. I was doing the marketing, I was doing the sales, I was doing the finance. Within those elements, I was also doing all the other stuff. So like, for example, in sales, I was cold calling, I was doing product demos, I was doing email marketing, I was doing influencer outreach. I was doing so much work. I just had this never-ending to-do list and I could never find time to finish anything at all. So I reached out to one of my mentors and I was like, mate, what do I do? How do I fix this problem? And he basically told me, he says, just delegate the work, bring people in, hire a team, get people to help you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So I took his advice and I did that. But oh, did I do it wrong? Essentially what I did was I took a task like cold calling, which was taking up a lot of my time, and I assigned it to someone else. I said, hey, can you do this? Can you hit 50 calls a day? And I just left it at that. I gave it entirely to this other person. And you know what happened is that after a couple months, the results were really, really bad. The person who I had assigned this task to, he basically then offloaded it to another team and they didn't really know what they were doing and they hadn't been trained properly. And as a result, we just ended up with a ton of burnt leads, which could have eventually have turned into real customers for me. So it was a really bad experience. But the problem doesn't lie with that person or that team or anything, right? The problem was with me. I should have taken the time to actually train these people to make sure that they could do the work effectively. So what ended up happening was that I ended up taking the task back and I was again doing these 50, 60 cold calls every day on top of all the other work that I had to do. But the same mentor who advised me initially came back to me and he said, Rohit, you know what you need to do? You need to delegate this correctly now. So he worked with me and then we hired someone who was purely responsible for cold calling. And instead of me just throwing a bunch of tasks at her, I spent a good 3-4 months working really diligently with her so that she could be fantastic at this job. I made sure she knew how to do the calls correctly, how to handle all the objections, how to use actual automation and software like HubSpot and Calendly and Monday.com and all these different things. And after a couple months, she started killing it. She started getting loads of meetings booked. She started getting lots of customers in the door. And it was primarily because I had delegated correctly. So moral of the story here, don't just offload your work. Don't just assign your work to someone. Actually train people. Because when you train someone on how to do something correctly, it is going to be more beneficial to you in the long run. There's actually this really great quote from Steve Jobs. He was giving a lecture and someone asked him this question about, what he's learned and what he would want to take to another company. And essentially what he said was that when I'm working with a team and someone messes up, I don't want to rush in and solve it and fix the problem. He said, instead, I want to train them so that they can get to a point where they can solve it and they can fix it themselves. And when you do that, you become more efficient, your team becomes more efficient, and the company grows as a whole. So take that learning from Steve Jobs and kind of from me, and don't be scared to ask for help and don't be scared to delegate work. Just make sure you train people correctly so that they can do the job on their own, be self-sufficient, and help you in the long run. Okay, so now let's recap everything we've gone through in this video so far. Step number 1 was that you want to be using time blocking to be more efficient with how you allocate your tasks throughout the day. The second thing you want to do is you want to do prior preparation. So you want to routinize things and you also want to eliminate decision fatigue. And then the third thing we talked about was using automation, so using tools to automate a lot of tasks to make you more efficient, and delegating work but delegating it correctly and training people so that you can free up some time for yourself to focus on other tasks and overall be more effective and efficient. Now, that is my sort of 3-step process to being better with time management. These are things that I have actively done over the last few years that have made a huge impact to my work, to my business, to my relationships, and I highly advise you to try these out for yourself. Again, I'm just a guide here. This is not the end all and be all. Feel free to make these tips your own, have fun with it, and customize everything to your liking, and hopefully it does help you out. Now, this is video number 2 in my 4-part series on productivity. The first video was about prioritization, which I will link somewhere here. And the next video I'm making is about procrastination, so how to actually get stuff done and to stop procrastinating and putting things off. And then obviously this video was about time management. And then there's going to be a 4th video, which is just a recap of everything. I'm going to link these videos somewhere here. Feel free to watch them. And until then, I hope your day is as awesome as you are. Thank you for watching and take care. Bye.